Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Toon Soccer. I'm so excited that you're here. I want you to know that you're going to have a good time. I want to talk to you about what I think is going to happen tomorrow, especially between Mexico and South Africa. Now, I'm just going to explain briefly the tactics in which I think both teams are going to use tomorrow. Now, I'm not saying that exactly what I'm going to tell you today is exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't have the facts. We don't have the team news yet. But this is what I predict. This is what I think is going to happen. This is how I think both of them are going to play tomorrow. Now, when it comes to Mexico, Mexico has been so extraordinary in the way they've played in the last few games. Now, they won 5-1 in their last game against Serbia, which was wonderful. I mean, it was perfect. And so I have high hopes for Mexico in this coming World Cup. Now, when it comes to what's going to happen tomorrow, when I explain everything to you, I'm going to give you my predictions on what I think the score line is going to be tomorrow. But this now, let me take you over to my tactical pad so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I made a tactical pad here just to explain to you how I think things are going to happen tomorrow. I have in this place, I have the Mexico team, and here, I have the South Africa team here. Don't mind me, the numbers are not, exactly how you're going to see tomorrow. This is just for explanatory sake. Now, tomorrow, I do believe that Mexico are going to line up in a 4-3-3 shape, or 4-2-3-1. It doesn't really matter. And I think South Africa as well, they're going to do the same. They're going to line up in 4-2-3-1 or, 4-3-3 shape. Now, I want you to understand that the starting formation doesn't really matter. In soccer, the starting formation doesn't really matter because once the kickoff begins, once the ball starts going back and forth, teams change shape. You have out of possession shape, you have in possession shape. So the start information doesn't really matter. Well, what I do think is going to happen tomorrow is this: if you, when I looked at the previous games of Mexico, this is what Mexico typically like to do. They like to build up in a 2-3-5 shape, and this is what happens when they do that. So normally when they build up in a 2-3-5 shape, this is what happens. The two center backs, they stay close to each other here, very close. They try to minimize the space between both of them. And then you have the wing backs, or you have the fullback, the left back here, flies forward. And this guy here, the right back, flies forward. And then you sort of have five forwards here. So you have two defenders, you have three midfielders, and then you have five forwards. So these guys, left back and right back, they're sort of operating like forwards here. So when they build up like this way, you have two center backs. They try to send the ball to the midfield. Usually you have Havertz here, and Havertz try to get the ball and then dictates the play going forward. Now, one thing I think Mexico likes to do is they like to go through the wings a lot. Tomorrow, you're probably going to see lots of wing play. Try to progress the ball right here or right here. Now, if they don't build up with 2-3-5, this is sort of what they like to do again. If they don't build up in 2-3-5, Mexico normally they build up in 3-2-5. This guy is also flying forward. Here, you have this guy here, and then you have two different. Now, this is what happens here. When they build up in 3-2-5, this is what happens. The center back splits this way, and then you have the defensive midfielder, probably Havertz, comes here, drops in, and gets the ball. And so you have three defenders, sort of defenders in that build-up shape, and then you have two guys here who are the defensive midfielders, and then you have five forwards. So they could do it either way. And then they like to control the ball here. And if Havertz has the ball here, then he gets the ball, you know, sort of go back to this shape, dictate the game, send the ball to the wings or to this place, That's basically what we're gonna see tomorrow. Lots of wing play, and they also like to play with set pieces. Lots of crosses into the box. You can find this guy here with the ball trying to cross the ball to the box, and you know you have the forwards. Of course, when you have these guys here, you're gonna see all these guys right here. Trying to overload the box, and usually they poach their fullbacks high up. Then you have these guys here pushing forward. This is sort of what you have. And this guy is here. And of course, when you have this shape, you can see lots of spaces. South Africa tomorrow, this is how they like to defend. South Africa likes to defend in 4-4-2. So you have the right back, the left back, the two defensive center back, the two center backs, and then you have the midfielders here, the four midfielders. And of course, when they are defended and you have the opposition players, these high up, you're going to have these guys are going to be way back here. This is what South Africa tends to do. Back here, and then you have these guys all the way back here. And then you sort of have everybody usually is behind the ball. So they defend in 4-4-2 shape. Now, this is what South Africa likes to do. They like to limit the space between these guys. So the space between this guy and this guy, this guy and this guy, this guy and this guy, they try to be very compact. So they try to limit the space. So you're probably going to see lots of closeness between them. And of course, when that happens, this is what you do. There's always space right here. And remember, Mexico are playing with 5 forwards. That's what I think is going to happen tomorrow. So these guys are looking to attack through the wings. But the way South Africa defends is they defend in 4-4-2 shape and very compact. So you're going to have lots of space here. And that's going to be very, very dangerous for South Africa tomorrow. Because if these guys could control the ball here, because there's nobody here, if these guys are so compact, they have lots of space in here, or lots of space in here. So these guys will come together and cause chaos and score the goal. That could happen tomorrow. But this kind of tactics could also work against Mexico, because if by chance or by whatever, South Africa is able to intercept the ball in this area, just imagine there's lots of spaces here. There's lots of spaces here, lots of spaces here. You could have counterattack and they could score. That's what I think is going to happen tomorrow. That's what South Africa tends to do, from what I've researched. Now, South Africa normally they don't really mind how they don't play possession ball, possession game. They don't like too much passing between them compared to Mexico. They like to go more direct. So I'm just trying to arrange these guys back. And then you have, let's say Mexico is defended. You have Mexico, they're defended. Then you have this guy all the way back, the defended. Then normally the way South Africa attack is very direct. You see them here, they often attack in 4-2-3-1 shape. So you have the 4 defenders here. You have the 4 defenders here. You have the 2 defensive midfielders. Sorry, I'm just using any number I can. 4-2. That you have these guys here. I have these guys here. So you sort of have 4 defenders. You have 2 defensive midfielders, and then you have these attacking midfielders here, and then you have a striker. This is how they tend to, attack. Now, South Africa, this is how they build up their attack. Normally, they build up with 2 center backs. These guys stay wide. And then they build with 2 center backs here, and then sort of like a box in this place. 2-2 shape. So they build up with 2 center backs, 2 defensive midfielder close to each other, and then they try to go direct, switch to the wings. South Africa really doesn't like to play in here possession games. They just switch to the wings and try and, catch the opponent on a counter attack. And they also have very fast wingers. So when Mexico attack with their wing backs and they have 5 forwards, there's going to be lots of spaces here for South Africa to attack. So tomorrow, I think we're going to see lots of counterattacks from South Africa. That's what I predict. And Mexico is going to try to control the middle of the pack, which is the midfield, and send these guys flying, you know, trying to overload the wings and overload the box. So I do think this is how this is going to play out tomorrow. South Africa is going to be very compact, mid block in the midfield, close to each other in a 4-4-2 shape. And Mexico is going to try to play through the wings and uh, play through the middle. Now, the way I think Mexico is going to defend tomorrow is based on how they've been doing in the past. Is when they lose the ball, they sort of go to 4-5-1. So you have this guy here, and then you have 5 guys, sort of standing this way. This guy's close to each other. So when they lose the ball, this is how Mexico, trying to defend 4-5-1. So which is very, very difficult to break down. So if South Africa is going to try to break this down, they're going to work hard. Because it's very difficult to break down this defensive formation. So I do think that the game tomorrow is going to be very interesting. I think both of them are probably going to be very nervous tomorrow because that's the first game of the competition. Lots of highs on both teams. So this is my prediction. I do think that Mexico, if you look at the last 10 games, Mexico has been very consistent. They barely concede. They played Ghana, they played Serbia, they played Portugal. They've been very good in those games. So, and South Africa too as well. They've been good, but I do think Mexico has has the advantage tomorrow. I do believe Mexico. I don't know the score line, but I do think Mexico is going to win by 1 goal difference, which it could be 1-0, it could be 2-1, could be 3-1. But I think Mexico is going to win tomorrow. That's my prediction. I hope you enjoy your time as you watch the game tomorrow. Now, I want to quickly say this: we're going to be doing watch along in this channel. So this channel, throughout the World Cup, we're going to be doing watch along. We're going to be doing at least the watch along of 1 game per day, which means I'm going to be on the screen here. I'm going to be watching the game with you. We're going to talk. I'm going to tell you what I see. We're going to have discussions. We're going to have a good time. So, 1 game per day, we're going to have a watch along. And I think we're going to have a good time. Bring your coffee, bring your tea, and let's watch this soccer together. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe to this channel and help us, join the trade. This is the first video. Join this trade and let us keep moving forward. Thank you very much.